How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Wide League Scarlet and Violet VGC 2023 Series 1 tournament. I am Eric, once again joined by Casual Boy, and we are bringing you action from the top 32, basically the play-in round for the top 16. These are our players from yesterday that qualified for the bracket with a X2 record, and featuring in our first match, we are going to have OCEDDP going up against Komantis, two players that are new to my very eyes, but I'm sure we're going to have some good action coming your way. And the winner of this round actually will be playing our #1 seed from yesterday, Kyogre SG, who finished with an impressive 8-0 record. So it looks like the players are getting into the round right now. They're setting up their rules, but yeah, we've had a pretty solid tournament so far.
Yeah, we've had a pretty solid tournament. The rounds that we did cast together were some fun rounds. We got to see what players were picking up for this kind of side of the tournament era. We did just come off of the backhand of the Taiwan regionals, which did kind of prove that a lot of these teams that we thought were going to do very well were either did super well under the right piloting, or maybe certain techs were swapped out, changed here. It did prove things like Intimidate weren't so often, which we did see in this tournament as well. Intimidate didn't come, but then going through the rounds, it just kind of showed and flourished everything. And as you said about our two players we have now, they've shown a lot as well. They've gone from away from the end, nudging it into that final placing for top cut, and one of them has to go through, and one of them has that pressure on their shoulders of being like, oh, I'm facing the #1 seed player, and it's going to be that fun of, if you win this round, you've got that bit of hype going behind you. You can maybe think I'm a step closer to that money prize, to those finals as well. You know, even if you don't go through, you think, okay, you know, what could I improve next time? I made it to top cut of such a big tournament, and apply that to the future, as I do believe our players are getting ready to jump in.
Yeah, so we're just going straight into the game here. We're going to see Tyranitar and Annihilate leading off from OCE's side. Meanwhile, on Komantis' side, we have the Hydreigon and the Meowscarada.
Yeah, so two Pokemon on one. So we assume very often that Tyranitar, though, coming alongside Annihilate, which is quite a common Pokemon, is something we haven't seen all too often. It has had its appearances here and there. It is quite a common Pokemon across many VGC formats, given it has a pretty decent stat spread, being one of those pseudo-legendaries, and with the ability of Sand, it means it gets that special defense boost, which can make it a bit of a threat if you haven't really got anything that can break through that buff. Unfortunately, with the amount of fighting-type Pokemon or fighting-type coverage we are seeing in this format, it isn't too good. As a Terrorization comes out here onto the Hydreigon, which means it could maybe throw out a strong steel type move, which is probably going to break through the boost from the Sand with its own little boost from the Terastallization.
Yeah, so now Hydreigon terastallizing into the Steel type, as we're going to see both trainers going to go for the turn 1 Terastallize here, as Tyranitar is going to Terastallize, and we saw that very interesting Terra type, the Flying type Tyranitar. That's another way that you can resist those pesky fighting moves that Tyranitar is weak to. So we're going to see a Terra Steel from Hydreigon and a Brick Break from the Annihilate. Maybe potentially trying to get some good damage off there, but Play Rough coming out from Meowscarada. Now that's a coverage move that is very cool that Meowscarada gets, not very common, but now Flash Cannon coming out from Hydreigon into the Tyranitar, not hitting super effectively this time, as it is now a flying type thanks to the Terastallize, and Tyranitar going for the Terra Blast, which is now of course a flying type attack, is going to be enough to knock out the Meowscarada, and OCEDDP starting off this first turn with a knockout.
Yeah, getting that knockout is really going to set the pace for this game, removing one of the arguably the strongest Pokemon in this format straight away, meaning it can't do any shenanigans. We've seen Trick Room versions in previous rounds. You've seen Trick to maybe put a choice item we don't want on there. Loads of things. It's super strong attack in its Flower Trick. Rotom comes in its place. It is going to be a bit threatening to that Tyranitar now that it is a flying type. One of those trade-offs you do have to have with Terastallizing. Yes, you lose that weakness to fighting and all the other weaknesses you have, but then you lose that buff to your special defense and you gain weaknesses to other common things, such as this Rotom. Annihilate with that Brick Break we saw does maybe reveal a Choice Scarf variant, as a lot of players are using Brick Break with Choice Scarf to break away at the screen set up by Grimmsnarl, as well as having a support moves like Final Gambit to completely destroy Pokemon as and when they need, because it has such a high HP and speed with that Scarf. As you see, T-Tar not wanting any moves, and its own Rotom coming in its place to take a hit quite comfortably from either of these Pokemon.
Yeah, another Rotom Heat joining the battle, as another Choice Scarf, Brick Break from Annihilate going to be able to take out that Hydreigon. So 2 KOs already being racked up on the field right now. Let's see what this Rotom Heat is going to go for on Komantis' size. Big Thunderbolt coming into the Rotom. Does a fair amount of damage, possibly revealing that this Rotom is holding the Choice Specs. But very good switch in there to catch the Thunderbolt and save some damage there on Tyranitar. And just like that, OCE is now up 2 Pokemon in this match.
Yeah, being up 2
Dragonite comes in.
Ooh. Being up 2 Pokemon is really, really good at the position they're in. Of course, in these top cut brackets, keeping as much information whilst having that flow of information is amazing to have. But of course, just having that pace to knock out Pokemon even better. Dragonite coming in can put a little bit of pressure down. It can't really touch the Annihilate with the strat it usually goes with of that Terra Normal into Extreme Speed. Of course, it can't even Terastallize with Normal type now. So it has that freedom to go with other moves, not as strong as what it wants to be, but still getting a lot of damage off. And normally it has coverage, maybe with Choice Band or Assault Vest, to go ahead and say, oh, this Pokemon is strong against me or is not normally weak against me. Let's get that knockout. And that's going to have to make OCE think, okay, what moves could there be? What moves are strong into this? Annihilate is kind of done its job. It's not Final Gambited. It's got a knockout and it's got solo HP. It could just be knocked out. And really, that's what we love to see from these Pokemon. Do its job, get switched out. And that's what these early formats are about. Be hyper offensive or stop the hyper offense. As Lycanroc comes in, it's going to abuse that sand by being even faster. As we see Extreme Speed coming out, getting knockout on the Rotom, removing any shenanigans on that side, and forcing a switch and that number of Pokemon to go down on OC's side.
Yeah, big knockout there. Not even needing the Terastallize into the normal type to pick that up. Now Rotom getting a big Thunderbolt into the Lycanroc. Does a ton of damage, but Lycanroc able to take it somewhat comfortably thanks to that handy special defense boost. OCE deciding that maybe Annihilate is best served to, be swapped right back in here in case Rotom gets knocked out. Still very valuable with a little bit of HP left. Gets to reset its move choice here. And Dragonite, yeah, being able to potentially E-Speed knock out this Lycanroc, while Annihilate can do some more damage here.
Yeah, Annihilate can do a bit more damage. It can't really go for its Final Gambit because it's lost so much. I'd say that doesn't even have Final Gambit. I do see Endeavor on there, though. I do believe that's the wrong Pokemon I was looking at. But if it is fast, you can go for those things. Endure coming out from the Lycanroc, bracing itself to take any hits coming in its way. Go live on that 1 HP from the Extreme Speed. And if it was the Endeavor we saw on that slot, that is going to be a very, very fun tech coming out. Shadow Claw goes into Dragonite, doesn't do all too much. It is a very bulky Pokemon. Thunderbolt, gonna catch the Annihilate. That crit, not really gonna matter, but a nice thing to see. Maybe tilt your opponent a little bit there. And this turn, with the sand stays up, it is going to be a very, very nice environment for the Lycanroc. Go for those Endeavors, go for those strong stab moves. Super effective into both of these Pokemon because there's no transportation on the field. And Tyranitar can just go for Rock Slides, and that is going to clean up these 2 Pokemon without be flinching or knocking them out. They're not stab, but they're still very strong, especially with that chip from the hail. Snow, that sand, they got it in the end.
Yeah, this Dragonite proving actually to be quite the nuisance. Even though not able to hit Annihilate, but Annihilate just didn't have the best type matchup here, so it's not really able to get a whole lot of damage before it ultimately goes down. And Komantis here, getting the last 2 Pokemon on the field here as the Extreme Speed is able to knock out the Lycanroc. And we'll have to see if Tyranitar can close up this game. It is holding the Assault Vest, so it will be able to take this Thunderbolt a little bit more comfortably. I guess I spoke too soon. And there goes Tyranitar on the Assault Vest and not able to help it there as Komantis able to rally it back and take this game 1. Wow, we're showing that Dragonite is such a powerful Pokemon in this metagame, not even needing the Terastallize into the normal type for those E-Speeds to be doing numbers. But it seemed like OCE had the early advantage in this game, and then Komantis just able to completely reverse the momentum.
Yeah, the momentum completely changed there, where that sand looked like it was going to prevail so much. It's like the Endure came out, you could possibly see attacks going off left, right, and center, but Extreme Speed put a lot of pressure on, just going first each time and getting those 1 HP chips was amazing. And of course, we did have a bit of that Commentator's curse at the end, being like, oh, you could take a hit, and yeah, but hopefully we didn't affect that too much of that curse there. But showing that there's so many different items there and different choices that team can go for could be something that Komantis will have to look into, because yes, there's loads of damage going out. Yes, you've maybe got those choice bands, those choice specs of life orbs here and there to do a bit more of the role, but now you've got to think on the spot, is that role going to matter? Is this a role? Is this not a role? And with the option of sand going through, putting the chip down onto the Pokemon, it means that they're going to be losing health more and more, making these Pokemon that are known to be bulkier or just outright offensive, just putting the damage down and getting there either overtime or slap bang in one turn. So having to think what's there, why it's there, and could they maybe work around the sand whilst also working around the damage and the bulk?
Yeah, Lycanroc is a bit of a funny Pokemon in this format because it you know, is able to abuse Tyranitar's Sandstorm, and you know, as you saw on like that Lycanroc moveset, a lot of really nice support moves like Endeavor that could be crucial in you know, getting some cool KOs there with the Sandstorm chip. We'll have to see if Lycanroc can do any more in this game, as we're going to see the double dragon lead coming out from Komantis, being the Dragonite and the Tatsugiri, and the Tyranitar and Lycanroc, so the straight up sand lead coming out for OCE.
Yeah, OC putting out all the guns really early, thinking, you know, if you're going to try and get these knockouts quick, I'm going to try and get them quicker than you can. Of course, the double dragon does mean that, you know, if there was a ferret up in the field, which there isn't, it would be a bad news. But if you can get that Dondozo win in that Dragonite slot, then that is going to be a really nice boost. Of course, Dragonite isn't going to like taking damage from either of these Pokemon pre-terrestrialization because of its flying type. And if you don't see a terrestrialization from OCE, that's going to be a 2 stab rock slides, 2 chances to flinch, 2 chances to get a knockout. In a focus does not block flinch, but if that Tatsugiri doesn't swap out or go into that Dondozo's mouth, it is going to be a really bad situation because it's got low HP. There's the first rock slide doing about 50% to both these Pokemon. The Tatsugiri does flinch though, which is going to be a bit scary. Ironhead coming on through puts Lycanroc down to what is presumably a focus sash, giving Dragonite a bit of time to probably go for, not even Dragonite, sorry. The assurance coming out from Tyranitar gets that Dragonite. No shenanigans for you, Komantis. No terrestrialization early on, but it does bring in Dondozo, which is an issue brought up last night, which is when, yes, you get that knockout, but you bring in a Dondozo or Tatsugiri, and that buff happens, and even though you're super fast and super strong, that thing's going to become super fast, super strong, and super bulky, and could just start picking up. Did you see Hydreigon coming in, though? Maybe saving the Dondozo till later, or not at all?
Yeah, so the funny part here about Lycanroc is that Lycanroc is in sort of a way a Dondozo check, because it does come with that Focus Sash plus the Endeavor strategy, also packing Endure to possibly accentuate that. So Komantis recognizing this, probably not wanting to bring out Dondozo into this field just yet, but you know, does have to be very careful because like Hydreigon is very susceptible to Lycanroc's close combat. We've seen that this Tyranitar does have Ice Punch, so if it doesn't wish to terrestrialize, as we're going to see the close combat come out here, does a huge chunk of damage to Hydreigon, deciding to leave Lycanroc in here to just go straight on the offensive. Does a huge chunk of damage as Tatsugiri going for the Muddy Water. Tyranitar jukes the first one, but it is going to connect on the Lycanroc, eliminating its last HP. And we're going to have to see what Hydreigon is going to go for here, as it goes for a Snarl. Not going to really do a whole lot of damage to Tyranitar. Not really going to mind that special attack drop, but some nice little chip damage there, as Rock Slide going to pick up a double knockout here. So OCE just running away from this game, and if it is Dondozo in the back, unfortunately Dondozo will not be on the field with its trusty friend Tatsugiri. It will unfortunately be all by itself.
Yeah, Dondozo not having his boosts is sometimes a scary thing, but in this situation where it is a natural everything versus one, I think it will be a bit annoying. We don't even see the Dondozo as a Meowscarada, so maybe bluffing the lead there, Komantis, by being like, oh, I have Tatsugiri, I can easily go for something like that Dondozo in the back, but just not going for it whatsoever. And as we know, the Protean did not activate last turn because of the super effectiveness of the Terra Blast. We know that Tyranitar can easily get a knockout, as there is a forfeit just there, thinking as a fire type, a possible flying type. And we do see that Komantis gives up and gives OCE that game 2. So in this first round of Top Cut, both players really wanting it, they're both going to the wire.
Yeah, that game was just a complete 180 there. Tyranitar showing how much of a valuable Pokemon it can be in this format, especially paired up with that Lycanroc. Just such a dangerous combination. We're not really used to seeing those crazy weather combinations in this format. I believe you know, sort of the Pelipper Swift Swimmers and the Sandstreams next to the Sandstorm Pokemon, and then like of course the Sun combination has probably been a little bit more common, but they seem very fringe. But this combo has been picking up recently, and it's showing off exactly why it's so threatening. Lycanroc just so potent with those rock slides, getting those flinches, close combat being such a great coverage move, and you know, that secret little tech there, that Endeavor, still ever present in this matchup, and certainly threatening to the opposing Dondozo here. But, you know, just doing very well offensively versus Komantis' team. Komantis trying to capitalize on the solo Tatsugiri angle, potentially trying to pair it up with Meowscarada, but in the end, it was just, you know, I feel like Lycanroc just got a lot of mileage on turn one, and just that huge rock slide flinch, just really putting in some work there, and just so much damage it was able to put out, and that just really paved the way for Tyranitar. That strong assurance move that's doubled in power if the target has already taken damage that turn. So I don't know. I think Komantis has got to be looking here. It's like, okay, Lycanroc, kind of the biggest threat, and also being able to immediately deal with Tyranitar, going to be a big thing going forward in this next game.
Yeah, gonna have to want to deal with those weather setters and weather abusers straight away. Of course, in these early formats, weather teams do like to come and chill about for a bit because you have that super fast damage output, especially of the things like with rain, you weaken fire type moves. Not the biggest thing right now, but still something there. With sun, you weaken things like where you weaken water type moves, which can be a bit more common because there are a couple things that do carry water type coverage. With that sand, you get that buff, and of course, recently we had hail getting turned into snow, even the buff there. So pretty much every type of weather has its own little thing to do right now. It's just which one will come out on top. And like I said, in these early formats, you kind of have everyone throwing everything at the wall. Whichever weather sticks there is the one that stays. And right now, it's looking a bit more to be sand or sun because they have the best benefits and the best Pokemon to abuse them. But that could change, and this match could be something that someone looks at and says, hey, that Pokemon, that Common did really good. We did just lose a dog in Zacian, but this dog, it's coming here to stay, and we're going to have a bit of fun with this instead.
Yeah, we're getting into this last game, guys, but we are experiencing some advertisements here. So we will be getting into this game shortly. We're probably going to be entering probably around turn 2 or 3. Going to see the leads coming out here. Okay, here we go. Finally having the feed. We have Dragonite going up against Lycanroc and Tyranitar. And it looks like on the other side, is that Meowscarada? I can't see past the giant balloons. That is Meowscarada as the attack from Tyranitar just going to completely wipe Dragonite off the field there. And Meowscarada going to be nearing full health here. Lycanroc taking down to its focus sash as Tyranitar once again terastallizing into the flying type. And we're going to have to see what Komantis is going to do. Removing Dragonite actually kind of a big deal here because we saw how much Dragonite was able to put on pressure last game or in game 1 with those extreme speeds. But Komantis now bringing out the Tatsugiri, and we'll have to see if Dondozo is waiting in the back.
Yeah, I'll just see if there is that bluff again. Of course, we did miss that first turn, but by the looks of things, it was very, very similar to what we saw in the game 2, where we just saw the sand lead and just saw, okay, I'll put as much damage as possible. Going for that flying type, most likely to bluff a Terra Blast into Masquerada, if that was the Pokemon that was in the lead, but just go for that Ice Punch, getting rid of the Dragonite. Of course, they don't run multi-scale as much as they did just because Inner Focus is so good into flinches and into Intimidate. Which is the Hydreicon coming in the back there. So no Dondozo again. So maybe really just playing that bluff card, trying to think, okay, I've got a better position with this Tatsugiri. Could be a Choice Scarf one. Could just be there for that damage. Muddy Water comes from through. There is no duking this time round. Both Pokemon get hit. Lycanroc goes down. Will we see an accuracy drop? It's not super effective anymore because of Terastallization. No accuracy drop. And Terra Blast comes on out. We'll be going into what likely was that Masquerade slot, which is now the Hydreigon. So getting doubled up into, getting dropped. So it's kind of, maybe it was just a safe, like, hey, if I double up into it as a switch, something's gone. If that doesn't switch, something's probably gone as well. Anyway, Tatsugiri and Tyranitar will both take that sand chip. Another drawback of terastallizing your sand setters. As we do see Dondozo is the choice to come in, so there is a Dondozo on the field, and sadly you can't steal your opponent's Tatsugiri, because that'd be a very fun mechanic, but also a very broken one. Meowscarada comes on back in, and normally the cats like to eat the fish, but I think in this position it's going to be the other way around.
Yeah, this is a very interesting position here, having the normal Dondozo here, not accompanied by Tatsugiri, and we're in a situation on the opposite side of the field, which there is a Tatsugiri not here with a Dondozo, so a bit of a switch up on the sides here. But now with that Lycanroc being removed, there is a mechanic that, or a strategy that Komantis can fully take advantage of now, which is Soak if this is a Scarf Tatsugiri. pair it up with that flower trick, could potentially just notch a KO on the Tyranitar. But instead, it's going to be a helping hand coming out from Tatsugiri. Tatsugiri showing off its supportive moveset in addition to its more offensive one. The Plague Off not doing a lot of damage at all. Tyranitar just eating that up as the Terra Blast coming out here. Terra flying. This is going into the Meowscarada. Big damage. It's going to be a knockout onto the Meowscarada. So once again, Meowscarada doing a little bit of damage, but just not quite enough. And Dondozo here going for the order up, the base order up, not boosted by anything, not getting any boosts, but does go into the Tatsugiri. And with that extra bit of Sand Chip is going to be enough to take it out. And just like that, it looks like Komantis is now down to their final Pokemon, facing down 3 of OCEs. OCE just taking full advantage of the momentum in this game. Oh, wait, no, the game's over. My bad.
OC just it's over. The OC just took that so fast we didn't even notice there, but that was just an amazing game, just showing that they picked up what had gone wrong in game 1 and was like, okay, game 2, go for it again. Game 3, if it isn't broken, you definitely shouldn't fix it. And they just went for that FX straight away, got rid of the Dragonite, which is causing problems, got rid of the Hydreigon, which could have caused problems, left the Tatsugiri, which does a lot by itself, but that a lot isn't as much as its little friend in Dondozo can do as a lot. And then just had a clean sweep with super effective moves or just coverage everywhere to remove the threats all across the field, and just showing that sometimes you don't need to bring Tatsugiri or Dondozo, and sometimes you have to bring Dondozo or Tatsugiri. They can do things by themselves, and that sand came in helpful as well, because even though you haven't got those boosts, that sand is still chipping away, setting a timer that your opponent has to either play into or just completely ignore, and then be like, okay, I'll work with it, or I just remove it.
Yeah, we're going to see, of course, across these formats, these Dondozo, Tatsugiri, just the strategy and the gameplay just evolving a ton. It's not going to just be the straightforward, like, oh, just lead my fish and have my other fish get big. It's like, no, these Pokemon are actually quite capable of doing stuff on their own. And I think this set was a perfect demonstration of that. But, we're going to go quickly to something else, and we'll be right back with top 16 action from the Wide League Scarlet and Violet VGC tournaments.